Hi, this is Joan, and I wanted to continue with what I started, and that is correlating the 12 tribes of Israel with astrological signs. Because I believe that everything that is written in the Bible is there for our information. It's not just there. Like I used to think poetry, I thought it had no real meaning. It was just pretty words. Well, the Bible is not pretty words. If it is telling you what happened, it's telling you it for a reason. So I think that the reason that there are 12 tribes is important. It's special. And that it correlates to the 12 signs of the zodiac. Yeah, I think that's important. And I also think that if you look at the garment, he wore a chest plate that correlated to every sign of the zodiac. Every sign had a gem. And if you look back, I can't remember, I think it might have been Ezekiel. It described the devil when he was an angel before he fell. And he had 9 of those jewels on his breastplate. It was 3 that he wasn't given. But the point I'm making is that all of these things are there for us to search out. Now, the Heavenly Father could just give you a chart, a correct chart, because I recognize I'm doing the best I can, but I am only a human. But He could have given you a correct chart that said, this is this and this is that. But that's kind of like giving a person a lot of food and not making them work for it at all. They just get fat and lazy. So you can get lazy mentally. So I think the Heavenly Father puts things in the Bible or allowed things to be put in the Bible that were um, ambiguous so that you would have to exercise your brain muscle and try to figure it out. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And any help anybody wants to give, I'm more than happy to look into. Today, well, as a review, yesterday we looked at Aries. And I had separated Aries ascendant from Aries sun, and then I was going to come back and do Aries, the blessing, which I think is probably Jupiter. Jupiter is associated with blessing. And that would be how Moses modified things. But I decided to just give you an overview of the particular sign. Now, yesterday we looked at Aries, that's the beginning. And at the same time that, or right after I had finished that, I found out that Bill Cosby had been convicted. And I had said that Aries rising, not the Aries sun sign, but Aries rising can sometimes come with a built-in curse or an area where they might need to be careful because the problem is worldly success. Worldly success given to an Aries rising could either be very, very difficult to obtain, that is, they have to work harder than other people to get there, and or once they get there, whether it's easy or hard, it's easy to lose. So when I heard about Bill Cosby, I looked him up, and yeah, there it was. He is an Aries rising with a midheaven in Capricorn. Now, they are not squaring, they are not fighting each other. That is, that they are not directly against each other, but still it might have worked out kind of similarly. Another thing about Bill Cosby, really quickly, is he is a Cancer. He's a Cancer sun. And Cancer, no matter how hard I tried, I could not find a way that Judah was anything other than Cancer. Now, again, this is my speculation, but most of us who are really looking into Hebrew history correlate African Americans or the people who are called African Americans with the tribe of Judah. And we usually look at that as a lion, but I think that it's not. I think that it says he will act like a lion, but I everything I could find correlates with Cancer. I think the reason why Bill Cosby is number one, he was called the father of America's father, which I always thought was kind of bizarre. Um, I think the reason why they called him that was so that they could pull him back down, because I think he represents, in some sort of way, the father of the Judite peoples. Well, anyway, that is something to think about. And what I wanted to look at today is the second born son, Simeon. Simeon was the son of Jacob and Leah. Leah was the less favored wife. And what she said after he was born was found in Genesis 29, verse 33. She said, "And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Because the Lord hath heard I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also." And she called his name Simeon. Now, a long time ago, there was might still be there, a car rental place called Avis, I think. And it said, their slogan was, "We're number two, so we try harder." I think that that describes Simeon very, very well. He is called, what she say, he has given me this son also. She doesn't tell you any specific thing about him except that, well, I had this first one, I got the second one, so, he should really like me now, but it's not really telling you a lot about the second one, except that he is the second one. And what the father says, basically, he lumps him and Levi together. That is Jacob, his blessing, and that is at Genesis 49, 5 through 7. And he says, "Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor. Be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel." Well, that happened for both tribes. And most people, when they try to make this correlation, they will place both of these signs under Levi. But again, the Heavenly Father is orderly. So, some way or another, Simeon is the second born, and Levi has got to follow him as the third. They were treated as separate tribes. They were not just lumped together by the Heavenly Father. I think what it's showing you is that the same or something similar happened to them. Both of them were scattered, but they were scattered as two separate signs and two separate personalities. Okay, if when you go down and see what happened to them with Moses, he modified everything. Okay, you can find the blessing for Simeon in Joshua 19, 1 through 9. And it reads, "And the second lot came forth to Simeon, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families, and their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Judah." Okay, so you see basically here, Simeon is not given a lot of attention. And a lot of times that happens with the second born child. Unfortunately, some of the time they get a little bit overlooked. Now, if you go back to Deuteronomy 33:7, it tells you since since Simeon is going to have some of the blessings or be within the territory of Judah, these are this is the blessing that was given to Judah. And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, "Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and be thou an help to him from his enemies." So Simeon kind of got a portion of that because he was to live among the Judites. And throughout the history, you don't really hear much good or bad about Simeon. So I imagine that he must have been a pretty calm person, which is kind of what you find from the Taurus. When I say male, I really mean Taurus, period. Though being a female, I seem to see the traits stronger in women than in men. And that's for all of the personality types. But the thing with Taurus men is that they seem to be the most masculine and also calm. They're pretty calm unless you really make them angry. Now, the story in the Bible about Simeon and Levi, why their father semi cursed them, was because their sister, Dinah, and actually the whole group of them went out to like a community party. And the king's son saw Dinah and thought, I like her. So he took her. And Simeon and Levi were not having it. So they tricked them. They tricked the men of of Shechem and said, you know what, you can have her if all of you get circumcised. So the men did as they said because they really liked Dinah, and they got circumcised, and that is a very painful procedure. And when they were in a lot of pain, they went and killed all of them. Now that was a joint effort. To me, it looks like brains and brawn. Levi, who we will cover next, I think that's a Gemini, was the brains. Gemini is known for being tricky. Look at Donald Trump. I mean, I'm not saying, I try not to say anything specific about anybody because I don't know them, but from a distance, he looks like he could probably be pretty tricky. Simeon was probably the brawn. He probably carried out the actual killing. Levi probably came up with the ideal. Now, this is speculation. I don't know. But I think that based upon what I see of people in everyday life, most of the Geminis I meet have been great conversationalists. They're a lot of fun, but they're curious and they're tricky. They do things sometimes just to do them, and you look at them and go, "What the hell's wrong with you?" But they're fun and they're interesting. Whereas Taurus is calm and peaceful. Um, One guy I knew was a Taurus, always reminded me of a tree. I mean, he just seemed like he's just solid, like you could depend on him, you could rely on him. And I think those are really, really great traits. So I think that is basically your Simeon. And also, another thing I've noticed about Taurus in general is Taurus winds up with all the money. I mean, not all the money, but a great deal of it. And they do it effortlessly. They don't seem to be breaking out of sweat. They almost never seem to be breaking out of sweat. They seem to be extremely calm, peaceful people. Now, personally, I like that. I don't want people upsetting me anymore. The world to me is an upsetting enough place. I don't need you coming and bringing drama. You know, it seems to me that if you are looking for a lack of drama and possibly a little more loyalty than you get from a lot of other signs, you might want to try Taurus. And I think that correlates to the sign of, to the personality, to the tribe of Simeon, who I think was number two. So he tried harder. He was probably pretty slow to get moving when it came to, hey, we need to do something about what they did to our sister Dinah. But once he got moving, that's the characteristic of Taurus. Once he gets moving, he is hard. He is strong. He can be, he's a bull. You know, um, you have to, in bullfighting, they have to put on this red thing to get the bull's attention. But once they get it, well, you got it. Well, it's the same with him. He's not gonna start a fight, but he will finish it, is basically them in a nutshell. So, um, I hope that you will consider this when you're looking at people because we do common patterns. Everything comes in patterns, and that's what I'm examining. So, I hope this helps in some way, and you all have a wonderful